Namaste. I am people. Today's theme of the event is Astitva. And I think for as long as I remember, I have been identified or Astitvafied as a curly haired girl. But while I was growing up, the idea of curly hair being beautiful was so alien to the people I was growing up with that it was almost considered as a disability. Definitely, it was very difficult to manage. I was growing up with very dry, dull, almost damaged hair, and it was nearly impossible for anyone to manage it. I remember my relatives meeting me and saying, "Oh, तुम्हारे बाल अभी भी ऐसे हैं? अच्छा, still the same." They would give advice to my mom, like, you should comb her hair a certain way so they will straighten up. I just felt that there is something certainly wrong about the type of hair I had, and that's how the idea that curly is not beautiful was instilled in my head. But I was fine with it as long as I was in school. But then I turned 17, and the days of tying a ponytail or having oily hair all day were gone. And now I was in college, and college was the time when I was supposed to be a diva. But unfortunately, what Bollywood had taught me all my life was that only girls who had straight, long, black, beautiful hair were the divas. Everyone else who had short hair, who had curly hair, who had anything other than this normal diva, stereotypical diva, were not considered too good. These were girls who would be unhappy or wouldn't be the protagonist or would be considered a very negative character or would be friend zoned. And I didn't want to be friend zoned, not so soon at least. And that's when someone introduced me to this magical thing in my hands. It was a straightening iron. And what it did was it could straighten up my hair, and immediately, like in a blink of an eye, I would look so different. I started looking beautiful all of a sudden. It was completely magic to me. I was so happy to receive it. I couldn't thank more to God and to the people who invented this. I was so happy that all it took me was just pulling my hair on a burning hot plate, and that's it. There I was. It felt like I was the Cinderella who just found a fairy. All of a sudden, I felt like I was the most beautiful chick on this planet. Conditions applied. I was aware of the conditions that I am beautiful only with this hair straightener, not without it. Well, life happened. I grew up to enter advertising. And what are the odds? I was managing beauty brands. I was selling cold creams and face lotions and beauty creams and hair products, hair conditioners, etc. And I was enjoying it. This was also when I was going on a lot of dates and meeting guys, and I met someone who was a really charming guy and eventually fell in love with him. He was the guy any girl would feel so proud of. He was good looking, he was smart, he was attractive, he was from a good family, he was well educated, he was well behaved occasionally, but he was everything I could I have ever dreamt of. Like, he was more than that. And that's when I felt that if I could have this guy, that would be like an ultimate validation of me being beautiful. That's it. There it was. I just need to have this guy. But there's this thing, there's a complex that a lot of people who have newly acquired wealth often go through. They feel often obsessed with this wealth that they have suddenly acquired. So much so that they get insecure about losing it. It's called sudden wealth syndrome. It's a real thing. You can Google it. And I felt that sudden wealth syndrome hit me at that point. And well, my fears came true when this guy started behaving, he started acting weird and eventually dumped me. But that's not the bad part. I mean, I'm happy that he did. The worst part was that he dumped me on a WhatsApp message. Like, that's what he chose to break up with me. And that just left me wondering that what is it exactly that happened that made him hate me so much. He did not give me a specific reason for this breakup. So I started digging in and I started blaming myself that there must be something wrong that I did. There is something wrong probably in me. Probably I don't look good enough. Probably I am not good enough. And suddenly, all the things that I had heard as a child and everything that was said to me as a kid by my aunts about my hair, about my body, about my face, everything came back to me. And I started believing that I am not beautiful. I'm not even close to it. I'm ugly. I felt so ugly that I stopped looking at myself in the mirror. In fact, I stopped clicking pictures or even facing the camera directly while taking pictures. There is a specific timeline on my Instagram where I'm not facing the camera directly. It was the period when I was shying away from facing myself because I hated it so much. I mean, isn't it funny that a person who is the brand custodian of so many beauty brands actually couldn't relate to the beauty category itself? I felt distant from the category of beauty, from my own beauty. And this went on for a few months when I was also taken on board with another brand, which was a hair product brand. This brand wanted to do a campaign for their shampoo. And this was under the campaign thought of True Beauty. It's not the actual name, but sort of similar. And so I went through everything that they have done. I was trying to study the brand, whatever they have done in the past. I was trying to read their history, all the ads that they have done in the past. And what I learned was that True Beauty was trying to feature women of different types. They were trying to break the ideal standards of beauty that are usually portrayed in media or in films. And they were trying to feature women with different hair types, the one like me also, with different skin type, with different body types, with different skin colors. And I don't know what happened to me that time, but I just, after doing this activity for the entire day, at the end of the day, I went in front of the mirror and took a good look at myself. I just opened my hair, I untied them, and I went for a wash. And when I came back, I left my hair for the entire week just the way they were. I did not comb them. I did not uh, try to arrange them. They were frizzy, they were curly, they were puffy, they were just the way they were. And after many, many years, for the first time, I felt truly beautiful with no conditions applied. And that day, I understood the power of an idea. The idea that straight hair is beautiful was instilled in me as a kid. The thing is that human beings love symmetry. We find symmetrical things beautiful very easily because symmetry is easy to adapt, it's easy to register, and that's why we love it. But anything which is remotely asymmetrical, we find it different, we find it difficult to understand. And when we find it difficult to understand, we call it weird. It instills doubts in us, and human beings don't like to be in doubts. That's why every weird thing or every different thing becomes not so beautiful. And that day, this template of beauty in my mind was broken. And I'm grateful to this brand for doing this. But that is not the only template I was carrying. Our mind is set to create templates for everything because it makes our job easier. Just like how we do it in advertising, because it makes our job easier once again. And just like beauty, I had a template for success also in my mind. I always wanted to become an author. And I wrote my first book with a lot of interest. It's called Live Life, Stop Analyzing It. I wouldn't recommend you all to go and read it. It's a pathetically written book. I wrote it when I was in 12th standard, and I remember I would take all the time I would get from my studies and try to write this book in that time. My second book is something that I love. It's my favorite one. It's called Do Pek Ke Baad, and that one was written with a lot of love. My third book, however, is the one I would recommend to you. I would highly recommend to you to go and read that book. This one was called Two Day Down, and this was written out of sheer greed of becoming a best selling author. And that was the template I was living with. The thing is that as I grew up being a writer in the publishing and book industry, I understood that it is very important for me to become a bestseller, a best-selling author, because that is what will get me bigger publishers, the publishers who will actually give me contracts, which means hashtag fame, hashtag name, hashtag richness, hashtag money, hashtag everything we all want. So I started working towards that. That became my dream. That became my template to success. And I did everything possible, whatsoever possible to get there. And I got there. I did Instagram reviews. I did posts to follow. I did a lot of campaigning. I went on to the to most noted platforms to speak about my books. I gave people my book to read and then review about it. I did clickbaits. I did free copy contests. I did meet the author contest. I did free workshops. I did blah blah blah, hundreds of things. And here I was. I had arrived. I became the bestseller. I became the best-selling author. But as much as I want the story to end here, it unfortunately doesn't. Because in real life, stories don't end after you become something. Becoming beautiful, bestseller, successful, they are just adjectives to feel. And in order to feel them, you need to consistently be them. There's nothing like becoming one of them. Unfortunately, it took me a while to understand that, because when I became a bestseller, I was clueless of what to do with this tag. I I did not turn rich overnight. I did not become famous the way I imagined I would become. I Nothing changed, nothing much changed around me or in my life. I was the same person working in advertising, living off my salary. I was doing the same things. Nothing changed. And it only made me disappointed. I felt cheated. I felt like someone told me that if you will become a bestseller, then something good will happen to you. You will become rich, you will become famous. Everything that you ever want would come to you. And I felt so cheated that there came a point that I felt like I should call it quits. It's high time, because I didn't know what to do from here. What should be my next goal? What to dream next? And while I was, it again, it felt like a, a breakup, because I was with this, I was in the relationship with books and with writing for over a decade, and I loved it. But today I was so heartbroken that I felt that I need to walk off. I need to walk out of this relationship. I felt so heartbroken that once again it felt like it reminded me of the breakup that I just went through. And then I said to myself that, wait a minute, maybe this is not the love for writing that is making you feel this way, but the love for the best selling tag that is making you feel this way. Because this bestseller tag was once again a validation for me to be worthy of a writer. Having a best selling tag meant I was a great writer. And when I was not able to make that happen, or get a proof of that, it disturbed me. Once again, I was struck by the sudden wealth syndrome. So I thought that okay, let me put aside all the tags and look beyond them and see what happens. And that's when I started focusing on the art form and I started enjoying it for what it was. I started enjoying writing for what it was. And that is when I realized that, probably I don't need a publisher to treat my ideas and rebond them as per commercial viability. Maybe I don't need the mamas and chachas of the world to validate my style of writing or review it. Maybe I don't need a charming contract to validate my worthiness of being an author or a writer, as long as my idea is worth spreading. Today, I write and I share my ideas as a copywriter through ads, as a screenwriter through my short stories and short films, and as a speaker through platforms like TEDx. I intend to add perspective to someone's life through my writing. I truly believe that perspective is a really strong power that you can share. A perspective has the ability to bring about a change. It's perspective that makes one design different from the other and make one type of beauty look different from the other type of beauty. It's perspective that helps you break one template, step out of it, and create another. A lot of times we blame media for not representing beauty the way it should be or for showing negative standards of beauty. But in my case, I believe I'm thankful for the same media for changing my perspective on beauty. And they did it by simply reshaping the template they used to sell a beauty product. And I couldn't be more grateful for them doing this. So, as an advertising professional, I would highly recommend you all to use a template in all your social media posts, but keep away from them when it comes to life. Thank you.